representing the Pemberton Township Historic Commission. And with me, I have Tom Besselman, who's being shy in the back. The Historic Commission is less than a year old, and we're just getting our feet firmly on the ground, and we should be advertising meetings shortly, hoping the public comes out. One of the first things we did was evaluate the MUA, the Jones Farm building. And our president happens to be Marty's son and the great-grandson of Charlie Graff. So we're really happy to have them involved. And Paulie did an outstanding report on the Jones Farm. So now we have been working on a report for the farm on 206 that was built in 1710, the Woolston property. So we have been working diligently on that as well as some other things. But tonight, why we were coming was to let you know we are up and operational. And I want to do a little history on Sycamore Hall. We feel it's extremely important that that building be saved. We don't want to see it burn down, fall down, or be destroyed. Of course, it doesn't look like it always has. It's gone through several uses. In 1942, when Kay Stahl moved from her home that had burnt down, which was close to St. Anne's Church, they moved into Sycamore Hall, and she had 30 residents go with her that were there for tuberculosis. After 1942, it then went into Kay's gift shop. Locals, kids visited every year for Santa Claus. My mom had told me about going there and getting orange or apples or whatever when they were young. Her gift shop was one of the few places to shop in town. In 1973, she sold it to the bank. I didn't realize it had been that long ago. But I guess when I think about it, I used to shop there, and it's been a while. So the bank, of course, changed the total inside look of the place. So it no longer has all the character on the inside that it used to, but it's still a very historic building for our community. They used to have dances there. Kay Stahl would throw huge parties. Many people would come after, you know, it was no longer a sanatorium for tuberculosis. So anyway, we just want to encourage council and the township to do everything it possibly can to save that building. The inside, it's never going to be Kay's gift shop ever again. Kay used to rent rooms. I don't know where she put 30 people, but she used to have 30 tuberculosis residents there. So it's our intent and our hope that that building is preserved. Thank you.
Sherry, just a quick, can you see me after the meeting?
Sure.
There's a project I want to discuss with you.
Okay.
I have a quick question too, Sherry.
Go ahead.
When you say doing reports on the Jones Farm and et cetera, are you talking about the historical research or what kind of?
Yes, historical research, what's there still, what kind of shape it's still in, that type of thing.
Okay.
Very, very important. There was something I forgot to say about the bank. Any other questions while I'm refreshing my memory? I know whether it was built in the 1776. I haven't found any proof of that. We were always told it was built in 1910. But whenever it was built, that building needs to be saved. Thank you.
Thank you.
One of the things, I got the report that they did on the old Jones farm, and one of the things, Sherry, correct me if I say something wrong, please. One of the things I thought was real interesting is they went down in the basement. I didn't even know there was a basement in that building. But they went down there, and I guess it was ovens down there for like baking breads and stuff like that, which really surprised a lot of people that was down there. There's a lot of things in some of these older buildings that nobody is aware of, and thankfully, these folks took flashlights and went down and did a thorough report on the building, and they found things in there that we didn't know existed. I went up into the attic of that building,
I was gonna say, it's probably an attic too.
and I was in the attic, and we were looking at the trusses, I guess it is, and instead of using nails, they actually drove holes through the wood and then drove wooden spikes through there to hold the stuff together. So, I mean, we do wanna preserve these historical buildings if it's possible, but without resources like our historic commission to document some of this stuff, it makes it even more difficult to save some of these older buildings. So I gotta thank the historic commission for the work they do and the thoroughness that they do. It's really, really impressive.
One of the
Good afternoon, Harry Harbor, 18 Highland Road. Just have a few questions. I see resolution 282-2024, or no, 283-2024, I'm sorry. Gonna do some work on a pump station. I don't see any dollar amount, I was just wondering how much that might be. 285-2024, Sims and some of the stuff for the 2024 calendar year budget. I'm just wondering what we're rescinding. And new business number 5, let's see, we're repairing the sidewalks, it says down at 538 Lakeport. I know there's asphalt work that needs to be replaced there. I'm just wondering if this price includes everything, or we're gonna do the asphalt separately from the concrete work, and it should be all done in one project. Just my thoughts on that. And Clubhouse Road, I see they finished Clubhouse Road paving, did a nice job there. And I was wondering before they finished doing the striping and all, perhaps it's time to think about making it no left turn there. We've talked about this in the past. Now's the time that the road's all repaved and stuff, and I know to cut down 50 to 75% of the accidents that happen at that intersection there. I think it's something worth looking into. I know I've spoke to the chief of police about that, and I think he agrees, but just want to put that out there. And I was wondering if we have a plan for the fall leaf program this year. I know there hasn't been any talk about that. And last but not least, just an observation at the last meeting that Mr. Hornickel was at, he was already not an employee, but he was here using the township's laptop and stuff, and I'm not 100% sure, but I just want to make sure that he's turned back in all his stuff and no longer has anything to do with the township, since we now have a business administrator working for us, and I'm sure the rest of the town department heads are doing their due diligence. So, any one of those questions anybody wants to answer, I'll be happy to hear them.
I think administration could tackle those, both of them.
Yes, I could, Council President, thank you. So, We'll start with the first question with regard to the, replacement of the pump station 3. So $722,000 of that project will be used for the, using ARPA money, the American Relief money through, COVID. And then approximately $60,000 from sewer capital. The sewer utility capital will be used to, finish up the cost of that repair. The chapter 159 revision is due to the fact that the township learned that we won't get the actual grant award letter until next year, so you can't put an item of revenue, special item of revenue in the calendar year budget until you have that letter. So that was that, and I think you had a question with regard to no left turn, and coincidentally, we discussed that at our staff meeting today. And I was brought up to date that it is a dangerous area between Clubhouse and I think Lakehurst
Yes.
Road. So I asked the chief to revisit that with the county. And we're gonna look into, I believe the traffic engineer had said, the county traffic engineer was going to look at that. And now that we're aware, we're gonna definitely follow up on that.
Okay.
If I can, that's something I've been looking at since I've been in office, and we were looking at, there's a process, you have to do a traffic study. And we were looking at setting that up.
Yeah, I thought we had already done one. I know it had been talked about in the past, so I know.
We wanted to redo it so it was more current, but when we were talking about it in a meeting with the county, they said that that's actually a county intersection because it's on a major county road. They would be willing to do the traffic study. And I've asked it a couple of times, we followed up and we're not getting any response from the county, so is what I understand. But we are following up with the county on what the status is.
Okay. Any idea about new business number 5 with that pricing for that? Is that just for the sidewalk?
Just
Because
sidewalk, I'm gonna guess just the sidewalk,
Yeah.
since we do all of our asphalt in-house.
Okay.
We would do the in-house asphalt at a lower cost than contracting it out.
Right, yeah, I just was wondering, because a lot of times we do projects and we piecemeal it, and then we don't get an idea of the whole total cost, so. And, how about the leaf collection for this year? Any ideas on that? What's going on
If
yet?
I remember right, we had issues last year getting trucks because of supply chain, and when we tried to order them for leasing them, they were backed up all year or quite a ways. And we talked about it, if I remember right. There's always discussion on where we are in the leaf collection process and where the leaves actually are, whether they're on the tree or on the ground. So we determined it might be better just to hold off the collection until the springtime, when all the leaves are definitely off the trees, and do it then.
Okay, I'm not sure the residents are gonna agree with that, but, okay, and, is anybody gonna answer the question about Mr. Hornickel turning in all this stuff?
I'm concerned that the
Yes,
person
he-
home enter.
Yeah, everything has been properly taken care of.
Okay. That's, thank you for all your answers.
Thank you.
Leaf pickup. Since most residents are gonna break their leaves probably after the curb or whatever in front of their lot, the yard, don't we always run into a problem of the sewers becoming clogged because the leaves being blown out, like after rainstorm or snow melting?
I'm not aware of that.
You don't see the sewer, there's nothing about the sewers being clogged up.
I haven't
The
heard
water
any.
don't drain correctly.
I answered, I'm not aware of it, I haven't heard anything like that.
Okay, well, that's an issue. So you wanna look into about how we're gonna manage the leaves when residents, they're gonna rip up their leaves and put them back up in the bags. Leave them in front of the lawn or in front of the house, but it becomes a train problem.
I hear you.
Or 10, the Pinelands, under the E-code for stormwater and Pinelands, yeah, for the township. We have 2 different codes. Regardless, long story short, this one would adjust and address any other stormwater outside of the Pinelands designated area. And to answer Mr. Costa's question, the red or highlighted, so the municipality can come in at state EPA base standards, or they come in above. They can never come in deficient. So, unless I'm corrected if wrong, but I went through this class for a reason, but, so the addition, there would be additions, Alex, right? Or, the strike-throughs, would be something that no longer needs to be there because the state EPA rules and regulations dictated otherwise. So, for me, this is long overdue for the outside the Pinelands designation. It could always be, adjusted later on to be more strict and stringent, which probably some of it, I questioned tonight. I'd like to see a little bit stronger verbiage on certain things, but it's a good start.
Would you like me to send you an email of what the DEP said, just so you all have it?
Sure, I'll always take information, absolutely.
All right.
Yeah, that's 190. It's the land use section.
Yeah. But there's one that, right, it's like 11, there's a 10, an area 10, and then an area 11 or something. I forget what's worded, but it's two different ones, outside of Pinelands and the same.
Anyone else to address the council?
Good evening, everyone. Robert King, otherwise known as Pete, from the school board. Just want to let everyone know there's a parent workshop coming up on social media to help the kids learn how to be, help the parents make sure the kids are being safe on social media. We also have a food truck or treat car show coming up in October. And Saturday, October 12th, is going to be our homecoming game against Florence. So everyone that is invited. Can you give you all these real quick? And on the flyer, we also have, make sure we have Board of Education meetings coming up as well. And everyone, I'd like to remind everyone that education begins at home. Make sure your kids get plenty of rest. Make sure they have a safe place to work. Make sure they do their homework. Parents can also go on the Genesis portal and check and make sure how their students are doing in class. So, and if they don't get the information they need on the parent portal there, then don't be afraid to talk to their teachers, because the more involvement you have in your kids' education, the better they're going to do in the school. So now my other hat for Scouts, this past weekend, Garden State Council ran a Trauma Palooza, which was like a first aid workshop where competition where they went to like 12 different stations doing different first aid items. And our troop here, the girl troop 397G, with 5 girls in it, came in 4th place out of 24 contestants, 24 teams, so, which is really good. And we just got 3 new girls in our unit in the past 2 weeks, so it's kind of awesome what's going on. And we also have one girl who's working on her Eagle project out at White and Spogs. She's building benches to put on the trails out there as her Eagle project. So, a lot of good things. So remember, if any kids are interested in scouting, let me know, or go to beascout.com. We have Troop 397G, 145B, both meet at the Browns Mills United Methodist Church, one on Monday, one on Thursday. And then the Cub Scout pack is a family pack, 152. We meet at the American Legion on Sundays. We will not be there this Sunday because on Saturday they're having a Cub Fun Day down in Berlin. And the pack, and we're doing family camping that weekend down there. So, all right. Does anyone have any questions for me?
Yes, how was your job fair today?
Say again?
The job fair? Your job fair, how was it?
I don't know. I did not graduate, so I know it was out there. I know they had it, but I don't know the results yet. So we'll find out. All right. Sorry, I'll ask.
Appreciate the news you bring to us.
Good evening, everybody in general. My name is America Phillips. I live in Pemberton Township for 44 years. Same house, same street. And I'm very proud to be in Pemberton Township. But in the meantime, I've been learning a lot. I like to read books. And it said, the way I look at it, our township, regarding the previous, regarding right now, we cannot destroy our history. Because this is the only thing we have. I know that the wise book, the only thing wise book still stands with us there. Because Pemberton haven't get their hands on it. That's a state property, okay? Think about that. The train station, how do you think of all those militaries, the soldiers came to Fort Dix? By the train, and here it is. They destroy the place. But thanks to this administration, they give you the right to just go back there. And I always hear people talking about it, our township. I know there is good things, there is bad things, but you know what? I put that on the side. I live here and I know what is going on. You cannot come and tell me this happening or that happening. Tell you start for the fire department. I'm not very happy either. Okay, I'm going number one. I've been brought to this administration. Please, put signs on the road, no litter signs. I travel to other places, and they have signs. I pick or can the garbage, and I can tell you the last thing I pick it up, okay? We need only one person, and I be honest with you, go the highest you can go. You will find the $1,500 the first time. Guarantee you that that person will be a newspaper, passing the word to everybody. We will not pick it up too many garbage. Okay, now I'm going to talk about presidential aids. I've been working on that. And I noticed, yes, we do have, I don't know how many code enforcement, but I think their code enforcement is not doing their job. I do not know how long they gotta go for training. What do they require for them to do code enforcement? When I walk, I see the yards so disgusted. But he's in the street, there is nothing to worry about it. I just noticed yesterday, he was making turning around by my property, between New Hampshire and Tennessee. I see him on New York Road, see him on different kind of road. But we have to just be firm and teach these people, because if I have my house and I want to sell my house, guess what? If I have a dumpster next to, you know I'm not going to get nothing for my house. And I don't blame the people either, okay? Okay, now, I'm going to hit Lakers Road. Lakers Road and Route 7 East and 530 East. I attended the commissioner's meeting last Wednesday night. I spoke to one of the engineers in the end of the night. I already know him for more than 2 years, okay? He has stated to me, and I question, because our previous administrator stated to me, they've been settled the study in 530 with Route 70. Okay, now, this engineer stated to me, he got a check on that. That means I intend to go to their next meeting. And I intend to get an answer for that. And I think that the study, I know how much the study costs, and I know who paid for it. For that, if we go and bring it out to the clubhouse on Lakers Road, guess what? To me, it's more important 530 East and Route 70. This is where we get our rateables, okay? People come and visit us. They don't wanna go back in coffin, they wanna go back in their own vehicle. Okay, now I'm going to talk about Presidential Lake now. Okay, by the park, I know in the past, was a gate where you can go across the bridge. And the people from the other side, they come with their children. And I happened to see a lady one day, and she carried three little children in one stroller. And she said, well, where is the gate? I said, well, you know what, used to be a gate in there. Please put that gate back, because the people come from across the bridge with little children. They need to use the gate. They are in the strollers. Okay, the lift. Okay.
You passed your.
Oh, I passed that? Can I talk about the lift, please? Okay.
Can you do it quickly, very quickly?
Yes, very quick. I can tell you when the last leaf fall down. And we don't want to be waiting until next spring either. Because we don't have no truck. They can come and pick it up and leave. We got it bagged, and it's a shame. We should not be bagged and leave those old people there. I'm one of them. Okay? That's mean we have to just tie our pants and figure out what we're going to do it with our leaf. The leaf has to be picked up, because if you leave the leaf until the springtime, you know what is going to happen when the snow comes coming? All those trucks will take everything with them. And then, if I have an ice, I have weeds in my yard, I don't have the expensive grass or anything, guess what? I will kill all my weeds.
So
And I want to keep my weeds on,
you
okay?
think it's a bad idea to wait till the spring? Understood. Thank you. And good evening, Ms. Burton.
Gay Burton, 308 Seminole Trail. I just wanted to make a comment about what Ms. Phillips just said. She said the previous council shut down the old train station. You know, we made a mess of it, or however she put it, but it wasn't the administration. Whoever was running it, and I don't recall what group was running it, was not maintaining it properly. And so we chose to close it. And I'm happy to see that it is open since it's a historical site. Very happy to see that it is. But I just wanted to make that clear.
Thank you. None, we'll close the public comment portion and move to resolutions. The meeting minutes, as I understand it, were not able to be completed before this evening, so we're skipping that item on the agenda. We'll review the minutes for next week. Resolutions 280, 2024. Okay, council, it's being suggested that we do everything but 282 and 283 by consent. Does anybody object to that, or anybody want to pull any other ones? Okay, well, I'll entertain a motion.
I'd like to pull 82, 282.
And that was pulled.
282 and 283 will pull them.
Okay.
So we need a motion regarding the resolutions excluding 282 and 283.
I make a motion to approve resolutions 280 to 285, excluding 282 and 283.
I'll second.
Ms. McCartney?
Yes.
Mr. Dewey?
Yes.
Mr. Ward?
Yes.
Mr. Gardner?
Yes.
Mr. Bucher?
Yes. Okay, 282, 2024 authorizes purchase of uniforms from Keyport Army Navy in an amount up to $25,078. Questions or comments from the council?
I have a question.
Mr. Dewey?
Many times, being that I live in town and I see the guys out working, don't see three guys that are even in uniforms. You might have the yellow shirt on, but one guy might have camo pants on. And is there a policy for them to, wear these uniforms?
We're going to have to talk to Tom, however, typically, DPWs are required to wear uniforms because a lot of the uniform is for safety reasons. So I will look into if you're indicating that you're not seeing, perhaps, I don't know what tasks they're doing, different tasks will require different uniforms, jackets,
Yeah, I'm just,
pants,
if
shoes.
we're putting the money out, I'd like to see everybody look the same on the job or in the public.
Okay.
That's just a question, I don't know if anybody else is ever concerned.
I think most of it is the sweatshirts, and t-shirts and stuff like that. They're all yellow with the Pemberton Township Public Works emblem on it.
But I'm saying, like, I've seen guys with sweatpants on, I've seen guys with, camo khaki.
I don't think the pants are part of the uniform, to be honest, I could be wrong.
I think it is.
I'm sorry?
I'm pretty sure the pants are on there.
Yeah, you're right, Mr. Dewey, Dickie cargo pants, yeah.
Maybe they're adding that to it.
I'll speak to the DPW superintendent with
Yeah, I
respect
mean,
to,
it's just, you know, you want,
being,
they're
right,
representing the town and they
Mhm.
should look professional.
correct, yes.
And, you know, $25,000 is a lot of money. You know, I mean, for a businessman, it's a lot of money, for the township, it's a lot of money. But I'd just like to see the guys all look good.
Okay.
Do we want to do that, or do you talk over?
Council, have any other comments or questions?
Yeah,
I don't think we need to bullet, just make a note
I
that.
have a question about it. I see there's 1, 2, 3, 4 vendors listed. Keyport Army Navy is the vendor that's here with the, quote, working gear, according to what we are seeing is no response, and then there's another Gales and Fit Right uniform, but no quote. I'm just not sure why we weren't able to get one other quote.
So Keyport is on a co-op,
Oh.
that's on the state co-op, and I know this council passed a resolution that any purchase over $3,000, go in front of, for your approval, but on a state co-op, anything under $44,000, because you do have a qualified purchasing agent, does not require governing body authority. However, this was being done, with respect to the request of the council for any purchases over $3,000. So this is from a state contract.
So if it's from a state contract, you don't need another quote?
They've already done the competitive work for the township, so it saves the township money and time.
Okay. I was just
But
curious.
you know what, it's always good, because sometimes maybe we're not getting the best
Well-
price. So it's always good to get other quotes, and I know they did seek out to try and get other quotes, and they were unable to attain them, and, the
Okay.
uniforms were needed.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Other questions or comments? Mr. Ward.
Yeah, thanks, Jasper. I mean, the only, I don't really have a question, just more of a statement. And I like how, the administrator said that she was gonna take care of this and, you know, I guess, from Mr. Dewey's standpoint of looking professional, I would agree, right? There's, you know, we have a certain air about the township that we like to portray. I think that would make sense if we can make sure that the departments are in or if there's not a required uniform, look into that, because this is part, it looks like, of the collective bargaining agreement as well, through the contracts. And I'm not about spending money that we don't need to spend, but if it was part of the negotiation agreement that was worked with the workers' union, as stated on the first page, and, I'd like to see, again, in the past 2 years, I think there's a couple people that have been asking for accountability, if not everybody on council. And to have the accountability passed down to the department heads, to get them into somewhat of a required uniform would make sense to me. I think that would probably answer Mr. Dewey's concern, so unless Amy has something else to say, but, you know, I'd be okay with it if it made sense for the township and, you know, it was the look and perspective that we're shooting for, so.
Also, I think if, to the extent these uniforms are safety equipment, I mean, we wanna keep our worker injuries down as best we can, so, yeah, it makes sense that they wear these uniforms.
And I have just 3 questions to be answered real quick. So the first one is, so for the uniforms, how are the uniforms distributed to employees? How many per employee? And is the uniform distributed on a needs basis? Do we store them somewhere on the facility? Mr. Jones, with this passage, put the office at another one?
I don't know, I'm not, I'm not intimately involved with the collective bargaining agreement or what the, personnel policy is with respect to it, but typically, you're given a particular uniform, a replacement, and oftentimes if you've been given a replacement and you haven't taken care of it, sometimes it's the responsibility of the employee, but I can certainly get that information for you with respect to how are they disseminated, how many pairs of, if they destroy a pair of shoes, how many replacement shoes do you get? Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
Okay.
I got one thing for you.
Mr. Dewey?
I think the supervisors should, be responsible when these guys come in for work, or ladies, and they're out of uniform, they should be written up, or, because there's a lot of departments that are knocking on residents' doors, checking water meters, or taking care of a problem, and we want our people to look their best and professional. They've got direct contact with the residents, and I think everybody should be in a proper uniform every day that they're at work. They're representing our town. That's the thing, and supervisors have to take a good look at it. They greet the guys when they come in, hey, you don't have your right pants on.
Okay. I will certainly discuss this with our superintendent.
Thank you.
Anything else? What's the pleasure of the council?
I'll make a motion to approve 282/2024 if we put notes on there with the things that we want.
I'll second that.
Mr. Dewey?
Yes.
Mr. Gardner?
Yes.
Mr. Ward?
Yes.
Ms. McCartney?
Yes.
Mr. Beecher?
Yes. Resolution 283/2024 authorized the contract for pump station number 3 replacement for the sewer division.
This,
Go ahead, Mr. Dewey.
is this the same pump station that needs the generator?
I don't believe so. This is actually over in Sunbury, over off of, the end of Lemon Loop. If you go over there and look at it, it's a small red brick building with the roof falling off of it. It's in really, really bad shape. So what I'm understanding is it sounds like they're gonna rehab that pump station similar to the one that they did down the road here on, 3 Hills a few years ago. And it modernized it, it brought it up to where it should be, and this pump station back here, from my understanding, conversation with some of the folks, we've been on pins and needles hoping it doesn't fail before we can go ahead and get this started and done.
Speaking of pump stations, is there anything that we can do on the one across the street from my house and the one in New Lisbon?
I understood that they were looking at that, Councilman. I don't know what they've ever determined on it.
Every once in a while we would get a puff, but ever since they rebuilt it twice, you can't even walk outside sometimes.
I've driven by there and it's taken my breath away.
And, we stopped out to do a mark out at my house, and I asked them about it too. And, we're trying to work on it, but not why to do that, but I mean, it's bad.
Well, there were a number of people in New Lisbon, a couple of days ago, as I was driving by. They had cones out and everything. I didn't stop to see exactly what they were doing, but they were working on it, doing something, looking at it anyway.
Yeah, I was doing a job at Diane and Lenny's house, and, it's right across the street, and I was gagging her lunch up out there working. And
Mr. Mayor, on this, pump station was, with the resolution, you mentioned the building was dilapidated, but I assume we're doing more than sort of rehab to the building.
I believe it's a replacement.
At this price, I would think we're doing some major mechanical work.
Yeah, they're rehabbing the whole site. I believe they're even putting the new fencing and everything on there.
Oh, I got one more question.
Mr. Dewey.
This price, does this include all the engineering and the fence and everything? Or is this just doing the building and the guts of it?
This is to award the, construction.
Okay. 'Cause the
Township's
problem I
listed,
have,
this is, so the engineer, just a little history. Last year, the bids came out higher than the engineer's estimate. So the engineer had redone the scope of work to bring it into scope into what you're seeing for this cost. But this is typically, so when you have a capital project like this, soft costs are built into that. So that's what I'm thinking that the award is going to the contractor, but in addition to, as a capital project, you always budget for capital costs, soft costs. So this is, I'm assuming the line item has money in it also for engineering, but I don't know because I haven't looked at it.
okay.
But this right here is for the construction.
I'll give you the example where I'm coming from. Prior to you coming here, we have an emergency on Birmingham Road, pipe's gotta be replaced.
Mhm.
I think it was $53,000 going across the road. Okay, we all voted, yeah, let's get it done. The next meeting, here's $7,000 for the guardrails, and then here comes the engineer's bill. I'm the type of person, if you tell me it's 53,000, that should be the total bill. Don't come back 2 weeks later, oh, we need 7,000 for the guardrail, and then the engineers. It should be, when it's presented to us, it should be the total package. You know, we don't like surprises.
I don't know how the emergency was written, but typically in an emergency, you can't plan like you would something like a capital project like this, where you would know the soft costs and the construction costs. So I don't know how it was presented, but in an emergency, you wouldn't even be able to obviously plan for it. So you wouldn't know those delineated costs ahead of time.
Well, I'm in construction, but I know if they had to have the engineer out there and they determined that the pipe was collapsed and it's gonna
Right,
be
right.
replaced, he was already involved in it.
Correct.
Okay? The only price we were given was the contractor to replace the pipe. Township was in charge of traffic control. You know, it's our fault for taking it for granted, we figured that's the total cost, but then here comes the guardrails, and then here comes the engineers. I want the complete price, so there's no surprises at the end. That's my
Okay,
feeling,
I
and
mean-
that's the way it should be done.
Or at least it seems to me it could be presented as, this is the price for X. There will also be additional costs involved for
The
Y and Z.
You're right, there was the emergency, I imagine you passed an emergency resolution stating it was an emergency, and in there probably identified what the emergency was and what was required in order to abate that emergency. But I will put a note in that, make sure that, you have more details with an emergency.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Anything else regarding, resolution 283?
Yeah, I just have a quick question, I'm sorry. You know, I see the not to exceed amount, and mine's along the same line, so if we answer this, just say, Josh, we've already answered this, but the ARPA costs, we're using 722, 336, 43 out of ARPA, and the 62, 663, 57 is coming out of the township funds. If there is an exceeded amount, sewer funds.
Different ponds.
Sewer funds. I'm not trying to get anybody with it. My question has nothing to do with one or the other there. My question becomes, if we do exceed, do we pull that, is that allowed to be pulled out of any other ARPA funds, or do we pull that out of the sewer fund?
So if a change order is needed, typically when you have a capital item like this, you always budget for a 20% change order contingency.
Okay.
So it's gonna come out of the utility.
Okay,
Unless there's other ARPA monies that could be charged.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Anybody else on 283, 2024? If not, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 283, 2024.
I'll second.
Mr. Ward?
Yes.
Mr. Dewey?
Yes.
Ms. McCartney?
Yes.
Mr. Gardner?
Yes.
Mr. Dietrich?
Yes. Moving on to ordinances for second reading and public hearing. Ordinance 41, 2024 is an ordinance of the Township of Pemberton amending section 190-50.9 of the Township Code entitled Stormwater Control for Non-Pinelands Areas to adopt new stormwater regulations for the Township of Pemberton as required by the NJDEP. Is there anyone who wishes to be heard regarding this proposed ordinance? Seeing no one, we'll close the public portion. Council, comments, questions? Mr. Dewey?
Thanks. Last Thursday, I attended the commissioners' meeting, and this was a bad subject that came up. The two warehouses, the new ones on 38, which are empty, from what we were told, there's a 36-inch pipe.
Councilwoman, two warehouses on 38 that are empty in Pemberton Township?
No, I told you I went to the Burlington County Commissioners.
Yeah, but the way you phrased it, it sounded like it was something in the township. I just wanted clarification, sir.
These two, right? So there's two 36-inch pipes, they cross 38, and the buildings are empty, and since they've been built with the rain, apparently they got more rain over there than we did in Permanent Township. They're flooding out Shreve Street with the houses on the Rancocas Creek. And it was brought up at the county, and they're kind of telling the people there's not a whole lot they can do, but they're the ones that approved the storm water for the warehouses. Now, you take Birmingham Road, our warehouse, every time you have a hard rain, it floods out residents over there. And these buildings are being built and nothing's followed up when it's tearing up neighborhoods. And I don't think that this ordinance covers that. And there, you know, the one in Birmingham is not Pinelands. And you can kayak down Birmingham Road or the Guthries Yard. You know, and I just think with warehouses, there's gotta be a correction to the ordinances.
I just got to follow up on that, Mr. Dewey. Last week we had a town hall, and Ms. Guthrie mentioned that the fact that when it rains, the water from the warehouse would run into a yard. I'm not sure, did you get a email or call from the township with the fault report?
Not at all.
Okay, so anyway, when I spoke to the VA and she spoke to Public Works, prior to the work, they've been out there, they haven't seen any water, but most importantly, prior to that warehouse even being built, there were issues with the water coming from that area to the road. So the warehouse that was built there had nothing to do with the current water situation. It was always there and it was forested area.
It's worse.
It was not as bad as
Okay,
Not even started.
So,
I'm sorry.
all I want to follow up on our conversation on that situation because I was surprised to find out that that issue was when it was still a treed area. No warehouse was sitting on there.
After we spoke, there's, and I don't know if our solicitor would like to expand upon it, but this matter has moved into another direction. This is about the, Guthrie property,
Yes.
so,
Not about stormwater though.
no, about flooding from the warehouses.
Well, I mean, generally speaking, like an applicant's obligation is before a board is to basically show that the the stormwater runoff is no worse with the building and with the construction than without, and that's generally what the proofs have to be before the land use. Right, they have a basin there, and that, so, but that's, typically those proofs have to be made. So, I mean, yeah. I don't think getting to
I
this
think
ordinance.
we're
though, I don't-
talking about two different things.
Yeah.
I was following what
So
Joe
I
said about
think
the
this
warehouse.
is something that, you know, is an attorney-client kind of privilege. But in any event, as I had said, I will follow up with our solicitor with respect to what you and I had discussed with respect to additional water going on 317 Birmingham Road.
Just a follow from this statement.
But this ordinance itself, which is the ordinance issue, comes from, Josh, this is like a Form DEP, not Pineland, it's not Pineland, but a Form DEP ordinance, right?
4, a bond ordinance providing for various 2024 capital improvements and acquisitions by and in the township of Pemberton, in the county of Burlington, state of New Jersey, appropriating $2,196,022 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $2,086,221 in bonds or notes of the township to finance part of the cost thereof. Questions or comments regarding ordinance 43? Yeah, from the public comments. This was all public comment. Would anyone like to be heard with respect to ordinance 42, 2024, the bond ordinance? See no one. We'll close the public comment portion. Council, comments, questions, opinions?
Yes.
Mr.
I
Lewis?
don't agree with everything that's on this paper, but hopefully if it gets passed and it comes through the council, maybe we can fill it then. There's too many wants on here instead of needs that we need for this town. You know, like widen the driveway. I don't know why it's gotta be wide. There's just stuff on here. For the life of me, this building's probably been redone 6 times, but the poor guys working on the equipment are working in a cave that hasn't been touched since it was built. And I think that's more important than widening the driveway. You know, you got guys, you know, I mean, they need a modernized shop, you know? They generate waste oil. For $10,000, we can heat the place with drain oil. And you save on the gas. I look at the gas bills, you know, it's just, you know, they need a car wash. If they get a truck wash in there, you could probably get 10, 15 years out of your dump truck. But, you know, now let's put $80,000 worth of bodies on. You know, I mean, there's things that we need to make this town more productivity, work environment, make people happy. You know, I've been in garages. You can't have them working in a cave. That's all I got.
I'd like to know from administration, is this refinancing old debt, is this new debt, is this for capital improvements that we budgeted for, or what can you tell me about this?
This is newly authorized expenditures for the capital plan that was adopted. I don't know when you adopted your budget, in August. So this is just authorizing, the expense to go out and purchase and get these items. And then, as Councilman Dewey said, once they're up in front of you, you have to approve or not approve those purchases respective of, this is giving authorization for them to go out and procure the services. It's not authorizing the service, it's just authorizing the funding for these purposes.
Understood. That aspect I understand, but it is new debt. And I'm wondering how this new debt compares to whatever debt reduction
I don't know, I didn't look at the, but this is new debt and debt that, this is unfunded debt. We haven't gone out for bonds or notes, and typically we'll use monies we have before we do that. So when it's time to go out for bonds and notes, you know, our financial folks will look at it, finance will look at it, I'll look at it to see how much money we actually need to go out for bonds and notes to fund, projects that have been authorized.
Anybody else have any questions? Comments? What's your pleasure with respect to ordinance 42, 2024?
The concerns, before we go to vote, I mean, the concerns that I have are along the same lines as Mr. Dewey's. However, I'm gonna eat up some time here because some of the stuff I would, like the installation of speed cushions, I'm in agreement with Mr. Gardner. I mean, we should be paving in speed humps. So that's, I'm not,
Councilman,
I'm not
no,
getting
no,
into.
no, I did talk to Public Works about this.
Okay.
And we had a conversation, and they were semi in agreement. And what we talked about was, if you've been to Sunbury, they have the, speed tables
Oh, yeah.
out there.
Yep.
And we seem to agree that speed tables, asphalt, would probably be the best way to go in the future.
Okay, well, that's good to hear. So hopefully we do go that route, because I would, you know, when you drive through downtown Vincenttown, you know, there's speed humps, bumps, doesn't matter, semantics, right? They actually do work and it makes sense. I like the idea, I think, and premise behind the removable speed cushions that we put in, over by the elementary schools and the preference behind it. I just don't know, long run now, they're getting kind of a little bit flatter and everybody's just kind of like doing 80 miles an hour over them again. But that's just that's B, right? And I know Ms. Pennywell explained that it's banked verbiage, but I just want to go through and express my concerns with it. I think we do need the acquisition of thermoplastic traffic lines. That makes sense in C. The widening of the road out here, I don't agree with that at all. And improvements to, and I expressed my discontent for the municipal building foyer expansion, although I do get the premise as to why, Mr. Mayor, I do get it. Just might be a cheaper and easier way to do it. Station, I am so happy we got that train station back up and running. I think we should invest more money into the train station. It is part of our history. The various improvements, or the acquisition of equipment and vehicles for the fire department, I think we budgeted for that, right, Paul? We had a budget meeting in regards to that. Hopefully, we're still only looking at one truck, and we're not trying to slide a second one in there, but that, you know, that's neither here nor there.
If you can find 2 fire trucks for $1 million, let me know.
You good, sounds good. I will when I find them. And then the various improvements, I think we do need to upgrade our parks and recreations within the township. You know, again, and Mr. Dewey pointed this out, but I've heard from the community over by Colbridge as well, and they're not happy with the whole volleyball idea, right? So, you know, give them back a playground for the kids that are over there. I don't think the volleyball nets would be necessarily improving that, but that's just my opinion, and that's the opinion of the constituents over near Polbridge. The micro seal treatment and the hot mix, are we laying that down, or are we having an outside company do that? I don't know, you know. So, and the cargo trailer in A, I mean, we just paid to have 2 trailers rebedded, right? So I don't understand why we would need another trailer. How big is it? Let's say a triax, and the triaxle dump truck. I do agree with Mr. Dewey on this 100%. In this township, we don't need a triaxle. If we gotta make an additional 1 or 2 trips, that makes sense to me. Right, 10, right. So You know, there's a lot of things in here, and I don't wanna get onto that soapbox where it's wants and needs, but I think we do need to identify, if this does get passed tonight, you know, we're already looking at a situation where we came in and tried to keep taxes as low as possible this past year, and I think council did a very good job of that. Next year coming up, it's gonna get even tougher, it's gonna get even tougher, even tougher, even tougher. And I think the departments need to go back, and the department heads need to go back and take a look and really present the council what is the, and I don't like to use the word bare minimum, but what is smart from a purchase aspect, and what is, okay, where can we cut and maybe, you know, keep those trucks running a lot better with the shop and the wash that we desperately do need. And, you know, keep those smaller units going, because we're not a township like Mount Laurel, we're not a township like Marlton, we're not a township like Easton, where, you know, we just go out there and drop money on triaxles all day long. You know, and I'm not saying right or wrong, I'm just saying, you know, if I go to my purveyor and I go, hey, look, I need, you know, 600 pounds of filet mignon for steak tacos, and I'm making steak tacos and I can get top round for 90% cheaper, but the quality's there, I'm gonna go with the top round. So, I hate to use that analogy, I'm just a dumb restaurant manager, I'm sorry. That's how I look at it, right? And I'm not trying to cut the knees out from any of the departments, but it just seems to me, you know, if we had a better plan to spend, and $2 million isn't a lot of money, I think everybody, you know, it's a lot of money, I'm not discounting that, but we gotta spend it wisely, absolutely. That's all I'm saying about this.
Well, if I can ask the mayor a question.
Mr. Dewey?
If you remember last year, the former VA, I got him all the literature for 40-yard vacuums for leaves. I got him all the brochures, the CD, name of the company, the phone numbers, and I think they were like $35,000 a piece. But they were 40 yards, you could hook it up to a 3/4 pound truck, a small dump truck, and you only needed, the same guy that drove the truck could run the machine because it was all hydraulic. If the leaves were raked to the curb, you pull the truck up, sit in the seat, it's all hydraulic, sucks all the leaves up, the branches, and mulches them. And that never went anywhere because he wanted to buy garbage trucks and all this stuff. I don't know if the paperwork's still around, but we ought to look, that's a need for the town. And that's something that you'll get many, many years out of it. Part of the demonstration, they sucked a 100 by 100 tarp up through the machine, ground it up, and blew it in the container. It's an awesome machine. West Hampton has 6 of them, and that's all they use.
I'm waiting for the question.
Well, I'm just explaining, when I said earlier, between wants and needs, that's something the township needs, is the lead factor.
Not limited to, so improvements to municipal building, the expansion of the lot, including but not limited to the expansion of the lot, meaning that should the air conditioner break or something happen in the interim, you have the township, you have authorized the township to fix it. With your approval.
And so basically, everything that's in this ordinance right now, it has to come back to council for approval anyway. It's like, you know.
It does.
We get it's $2 million plus. Let's say item G, for example, which is the foyer. If that comes up and we don't need it, that money goes someplace else, or another, like Paula said, what if the air conditioning was broken and here we got $35,000 to put towards it? It doesn't have to go towards the foyer. It's just stuff, we're approving the money. The item left A through whatever it is, it's just like semantics. It's just like saying we're asking $2 million just in case these things come up, we like to improve or purchase these things. Not necessarily gonna get it or use it, but it's just there because if it's there, at least the money's there for when it comes up. Again, one of these item number, something happened, assuming break, well, not so, but something happens where it's part of the capital budget, some of this money could be used towards it, we can just put this off in the back burner for another time.
I hear that. I guess the frustration is we've had conversations about the car, you know, we've spent a lot of money on vehicles throughout the years. And some of the reasons why we have is because we haven't had proper storage or maintenance of them. I'm not an expert on it, but I've been listening to some of us who know more about it than others, so, and we talk about it, we talked about it before, but it doesn't seem like it goes to the paper that we're voting for, so that's the frustration that I have. I hear what you're saying, but nothing seems to change with the input that's being put here, that's all.
It didn't change, but.
It doesn't change, but remember now, you're talking about the wash facility, if something, let's say this money was approved, and pick one item, letter item, and it came to a vote, we said, no, we're not gonna do it, because we need a wash vehicle, we need a wash stand. So the money's there, it's like taking money it's like taking money from Paul and giving it to Peter, basically.
Okay, so taking from Paul to give to Peter, but other people spoke and had some recommendations, but nothing, it wasn't really, it was heard, but there was nothing recognizing that there was a need there, so.
Okay, Liz, for example, before
Ms.
the,
McCartney, it was introduced as it, the changes would have had to be made at the last meeting when it was before it was introduced. So this is the way it was advertised. An ordinance needs to be changed at the time it's introduced, otherwise, another public hearing, or it's gonna have to be amended and reintroduced.
Okay, so
It
it seems,
was introduced as it.
it seems to me our choices are pass it tonight, or let it die, and somebody's got to get to work on an amended ordinance, because we need the bond ordinance, is my understanding, especially for some of the items that are.
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
and again, the money that's being bonded is not gonna be spent on all these items, for instance, the foyer. Let's say this was bonded for next year, spring of 2025. We can push that off because it's not really needed right now, to 26 or 27, and use the money for something else.
Yeah, I think that point's been made, I think everybody understands. It's kind of like a credit limit, you know, it's there for you if you want to spend it. But we understand that, but, we got a motion on the table, I haven't heard a second, the motion's gonna die, we have a. What's that?
Repeat the motion.
Repeat the motion?
Yes. I'd like to make the motion to approve ordinance 42, 2024.
So that's where we are, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Dewey seconded. Roll call, please.
Mr. Gardner,
Yes.
Mr. Dewey,
Yes.
Ms. McCartney.
Yes.
Mr. Ward,
Yes.
Mr. Deidre.
Yes. Reluctant.
Well, I just wanted noted that in the future, if you want my attention, it's gotta be a need and not a want.
This is don't need it, don't want it. That's right, next year.
Okay.
Not to prolong the meeting, Paul, Mr. McCartney, Council President, but, I'm sorry, I got Elizabeth on my brain. Mr. Dietrich. Now, Mark, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry, yeah. Now, because you made some very good points, I'm sorry, it wasn't anything derogatory, I'm sorry. We all do, right? Would it be beneficial for council potentially to come up with, and I know I mentioned this before, along the lines of bonding and ordinances like this, but maybe have, a bipartisan like Mr. Dewey and Mrs. McCartney, maybe come in and meet with the administration, and potentially address the issues at hand with the bonds that are being pursued. And maybe at that point in time, we would open up a dialogue that we've never had before with the administration, and potentially solve some of these issues before they get to council. And, put everything put trust back in the system, I guess is what I'm basically saying. I think that would be a smart move.
That makes sense to me. Okay, ordinances for introduction.